Nice.
That satisfying feeling of a perfectly pulled off noggin shot to a zombie's face is something of vital importance in Arizona Sunshine, fresh now landing on consoles thanks to the PSVR headset and your PS4 or PS4 Pro. Released at the tail end of last year on the PC on both the Oculus Rift and the Vive, now PlayStation players can join in some zombie horde manipulation and mutilation on the PS4, and it includes all of the horde mode and multiplayer online options, including the apocalyptic mode. So let's head in and get ourselves fully armed. Once the headset is donned, things are very comfortable and familiar in VR mode. It does support the aim controller on the PS4, but I'm not spending £75 for something that probably works very well and in many other titles, but I'll stick to the standard DualShock 4 or the Move controllers, which all work perfectly well. If you do want to use dual wielding weapons and you either need the PlayStation aim controller or the DualShock 4 option, it doesn't support the Move, but that just gives you single weapons, but it's certainly still as much fun as any other. It does have the option to customize the menu, so moving around can be free moving. Altering the actual angle of degree in which you turn or teleport is the best option to play the game. I do try to rate the VR titles in terms of sickness, and this again is pretty high. Within about 10 minutes of walking around freely, I start to feel a little queasy and sick, but this is solved most of the time, and I did play for over an hour. That's a testament to the game itself and how good the teleport option is without any feeling queasy at all. So I do recommend that if you are affected by it, such as me, then you definitely use the teleport method, because that solves most of the issues for longer play sessions. So my scale of sickness level, Drive Club and any racing game like that, is instant. Literally within seconds I feel ill in those titles. But in this title I can manage about 10-15 minutes. It's around the same level as Resident Evil 7 in terms of that sickness. But once the teleport option on, then you can play for as long as you wish. Or at least I could, in my opinion. But Arizona Sunshine takes my #1 slot of the most played game in one sitting, about an hour and a half, which even beats Resident Evil 7, which at this point is still my highlight of VR in terms of an immense and immersive experience. This really works and stands out as the best VR title I have ever played thus far. It just fits the platform and the format so well. Using the DualShock mode and then aiming up and shooting zombies in the head and exploring cars, rummaging through trying to find weapons and ammo, it adds such a sense of atmosphere and tension to the game that other titles simply haven't had. The fact that the visuals aren't obviously top of the tree doesn't really matter, because they have created a very believable and authentic looking Arizona desert that works beautifully to capture the feeling of isolation, and they've not really centered on sticking you in dark and dingy places with no light and just making you scared. This open vast area works perfectly to create the tension with a mixture of slow moving lumbering zombies and much faster heavily armed racers that run at you and charge at you. The single player story is very enjoyable and is broken up into smaller narrative chunks, allowing you to play it as you see fit in one long run or in smaller sections based on your comfort level. The campaign is peppered with telegraph set pieces that AT&T would be proud of, but even though they are cliche, it's still fun and enjoyable, awaiting the impending hordes that are about to fall upon you.
Damn it, Dutchman, shut up! Now every Fred in the neighborhood is gonna hear you. Turn it off, turn it off. Oh shit! Here they come. No. You're not getting me today, pal.
From the off, this is an arcade-based title. Sitting in a caravan and choosing your cassette cartridge from basically the horde mode, the single-player mode, and even the credits, you can choose the option as you want to play and then jump straight into the level. Once you've completed the game, you can just jump to the certain sections in the title that you want to from chapter selection. You can also play online in a 2-player option throughout the campaign, but I didn't manage to join any games here, but I'm sure it'll be just as fun in single-player on your own or with a friend. You can also play the horde mode with up to 4 players online, which again is a great benefit to the game and adds more value for its around £30 or $40 price tag, or around $25 or $30 on the PC. The game itself and the single player doesn't take itself too seriously at all. The self-narration can sometimes get a little annoying, but overall it works well, and it does help point you in the right direction as the game unfolds, rather than using simple on-screen pointers. I also like the fact that you pick up actual food and eat it to replenish your energy, even if you don't know where your energy level is unless you look at your watch and it shows your gauge. It is a nice touch that you don't pick up medipacks and stuff. Instead, you just eat the food by raising it to your face. You can also wear masks in the game and collect them throughout for additional perks and benefits, but I haven't managed to collect them all. So the game has a lot of longevity and options to play through in various modes, including multiplayer like I've already covered. Sound is also very good in the title, using the sound effects of all the various guns from handguns, Uzis, shotguns, sniper rifles. They all sound satisfyingly metallic, from the comforting clink of a reload to the booming sound of a deagle, as it even echoes off the mountain ridges. All of this accompanying this squelchy thud as bullets tear through flesh and take off limbs and heads gives you that feeling that you are playing a definite zombie title. What about the benefits for PS4 Pro players then? If you are running the standard PS4, do you see a huge uplift in visual quality and style? Well, as you've seen from the on-screen examples, not really. The game and team should be commended for the fact that they haven't taken the easy option on the PS4 and just literally reduced the pervasive viewing and reduced the resolution on the outside, which is what we saw on Resident Evil 7, although admittedly that game was pushing a lot more power in the GPU. Instead, here we see a very similar resolution. I must stress, there's no point in pixel counting here because the output from the PSVR output breakout box is only stuck at 720p, so there is a chance that it renders slightly higher resolution on the PS4 Pro. It does look slightly sharper in the screen, but they both come out at 720p on the output resolution, but you don't see a difference in the resolution edges. What you do see is a reduction in the field of view, or at least a lot. You can see the view here with the smog fog in the background hiding the drawing distance, which is very reminiscent of an old school N64 or PS1 title, basically reducing the GPU load on the PS4, allowing it to render at the same quality and resolution and texture quality as the Pro, and the Pro then pushes that further out across the entire game, so you get a much longer draw distance and clearer views. And like I say, I do feel as if the Pro is slightly higher resolution, but I haven't gone into looking at it at that detail. Certainly on the output they are the same. So visually the title is quite impressive. It does use a nice bounce light effect with the orange of the Arizona desert bouncing off vehicles, with a combination of the specular highlight tones and cube maps throughout the title, as you see it bouncing off cars, and some nice cube map reflections of a very decent quality in the title. There's a spotlight section where you're using torchlight in the darkened areas, with nice levels of specular shining through the outside light and giving it a dark, foreboding sense in these interior sections. And visually everything breaks apart as you shoot it. Limbs, heads all break off in certain predefined segments, allowing you to destroy and rip through these zombie hordes in any way, shape or form using the mass of weapons available to you. Polygon count is obviously sufficiently sacrificed here to keep the frame rate high at the target, probably around 90 FPS, maybe even 60 interpolated back to 120, but it looks to be 90 to me, which would match what it was on the PC natively. Now, of course, sacrifices have been made in the level of detail in the scenery. Certainly the background objects and the vertices and the detail on the textures and the rocks is pretty low, but that adds the detail back into the areas that matter, which is the characters themselves, your hands, and the disembodied ones at that. Certainly have a level of detail that works sufficiently to give it a sense of immersion in the title. Yes, there are some low-level quality textures and assets in the title itself, and certainly geometry is heavily pared back and quite obvious, but this is a VR title that's running at very high performance rates on console, and it achieves the target rate with no skips, no hiccups, and no issues at all. Something that was a problem throughout the PC development using this engine and on much more powerful PC hardware. So the fact that they've achieved this here on both the PS4 and the Pro without the standard sacrifices to the resolution and the pervasive viewing is very impressive indeed. And Vertigo Games, the Dutch developer, have done a very good job. From everything in the title, from movement, control, animation, the destruction on the bodies and the dismemberment system, which continues into the IK or inverse kinematics, which which plays into the game due to the fact that you're mapped from just a virtual head and hands based on your head movement and the hand movement in the game. It then has to push that back into a complete body set for third-person view of other characters playing in multiplayer using the third-party middleware Final IK. Now, what may surprise many here is this, like all of the team's titles, is powered by Unity. And yes, I have many people talking about this engine, and it certainly does have issues. I've had this conversation with many people online and many more developers directly. A lot of the issues come from how it handles junk and obviously moving memory management in and out and multi-threading and lots of other issues that's just not the time to go into in this video. But the team have made many titles with the game, and some of those include other dense 3D worlds such as the world of diving, which has appeared on console and VR titles. And this game again here shows that the engine can be used, and it is a jack of all trades, so it can be used across many different titles, from 2D titles and pixel art up to open 3D worlds like this, and even huge platform titles like Yooka-Laylee, which had a mixture of more on-rails, literally 2D sections, to more vast open-world 3D sections like its inspiration of Banjo-Kazooie. And other titles and teams have made that engine even more diverse across various other games. Although Unity and many other engines have certain issues, multi-game engines have to be, by very definition, good at everything and not just one thing in particular, and multi-platform engines have to push that even further still. So the results here that have achieved by Vertigo Games with a VR title are again impressive, and you can be safe in the knowledge that if you do have a PSVR headset, then whether you've got the PS4 or the PS4 Pro, the team have leveraged and utilised the hardware to the best that is possible and within the engine in this high-demand VR world. The PS4 delivers a very clean and crisp experience, much better than what you're seeing here in these on-screen examples. VR is always best experienced firsthand, as nothing else really compares to what you play when you look at it through the headset. But the Pro has been utilised to give a much richer experience by utilising the extra GPU resource to give a much denser world and longer draw distance, which again immerses you even more in this vivid Arizona desert. And it is an equally enjoyable experience on both headsets, but it's good to see that whether you've got a PS4 or a PS4 Pro, this is a title I can thoroughly recommend in the VR world. And if you've got it on PC, then you're going to get an even better experience using one of the two headsets available on that platform.
Oh, shit! Turn it off, turn it off. Fuck! Here they come!
Well, my work here may be done, but when it comes to zombie slaying, there's still much more left to do. I'm off to enjoy my Wild West adventures in the zombie-filled Arizona outback, but if you enjoyed this or anything else that I've put together, then please feel free to subscribe, hit a like below, and of course leave your comments and thoughts below. If you also like what I do, then you maybe think about supporting me on my Patreon channel, and also look at my website for more information. I'll catch you on the next one, because it's hammer time.
Hammer time. Go with the flow. It is fitted to get through this.